So, let me have a look here. I found out that all the people in CJ4 that got transferred from CJ1, CJ3, were all in NDPS, as far as I'm aware. And that is the Narcotic Drugs Psychotropic Substances Act. In other words, you're a druggie. And there was a lot of people in Tihar for drugs. You know, anything from marijuana, charas, coke, heroin, it didn't matter what it was. And they put us all into CJ4. It was mad. So I met Lando again, you know, it was lovely to see him. And lots of other foreigners that I knew, we were all there. And for me, two people shone out, and that was TNB, that I used to call Danny, and Chris the Frenchman. I was going to say Welshman then. And he was in the Vipassana ward where I took my 10-day course back in 2003. And that's where Chris was. And the connection was so strong between us, you know, it was unbelievable. So it was like happy days all around, you know. For the first couple of months that I was in my cell, I just kept it clean, you know, didn't think too much about it. And then one day I thought, I'm going to paper the cell out. And I got some money. My ex-wife, she put in 10,000 rupees, a couple of £100, whatever. So I had some money from the British consulate, and I bought a ream of application paper, being 500 sheets. Now these sheets were bigger than A4, like the Old English foolscap size, that's all I can say. So over the 3 or 4 days, I papered this cell out. Now these cells were about, I don't know, 12, 14 feet high. And right at the top, at the back of the wall, was a little tiny window, about 15 inches square. Anyway, I got a stool, borrowed a stool from somewhere, and I papered all the cell out, all the way around, everywhere, with these sheets of paper. And the amazing thing was, I've never done papering in my life. I've never done it, you know. And when I finished, you couldn't see a join. It was like as if I put up one big piece of paper on each of the walls, you know, and it was amazing. It was like, wow. Anyway, after some time, people was coming into my cell. There'd be Lando, there'd be Chris, TNB, Mick, a couple of Nigerians, an African, whatever. And they'd come in the morning about 10 o'clock, and there was charas quite freely, so we were all getting stoned, you know, and I'd be sat at the back of me cell. There was a small wall where the toilet was. I used to sit on this with my guitar, just plonking out a few tunes, you know. And it was really like happy. And Lando said to me one day, he said, Steve, whenever I come into your cell, he said, I feel so peaceful and calm. And it really was a conscious thing. And at this time I could feel it's like something's happening, something's going on, you know. Anyway, one night I'm laying there on my fata, reading a book, and out of the periphery of my eye I could see a light, and I just turned my head slightly, and to the right there was a bar of light about that long, about that deep, oblong, and it was there, this light. I'm looking at this light. And then it just went, and it had gone. I have no explanation for it. Went asleep, and then I woke up and I could hear, Steve, Steve. I thought, what's this? So I got up, went to the front of the cell. I mean, I had no idea what time it was because I didn't have a clock watch or anything like that. But it was late at night. I mean, everything was shut down, the ward was locked up, there was nobody about. But I heard my name very, very clearly. And again, I have no explanation for this. Soon after, nightly, I'd be in my cell. And at that time, Lando had got himself moved over into the medical ward because he, used his influence, and he used to give me a piece of charas. And I'd have a smoke at night, and I'd lay on my fat, and I'd be, not wasted, but I'd be stoned. And this night, there was a voice in my head, clearly. And it was saying, "Are you aware of these revelations you've been having?" And it was like that, okay? It was like as if God was talking to me. Like I say, I'm not religious, but I have no explanation. And I can remember sort of like pausing and thinking, and then sort of verbally saying, yeah, I can feel difference. There's something going on. And this voice was saying, "You're just having a revelation after a revelation, man." So I wrote it down, and I wrote on this piece of paper, one revelation after another, and I'm looking at this word. And all I saw was the first letters, which spelt out aura. One revelation after another. And this voice said, "That's your name." And I thought, no, my name is Steve Jenkins, or Stephen Jenkins as it was then. And it's, no, this is your name. Anyway, from that, if I sort of shoot forward to the 30th of March 2010, I went into a solicitor's in Birmingham and changed my name to Steve Aura. And that's what's on my passport and on my driving license. And that's how it was, and it is now. The next day I got up, 5:30 as usual, opened us up, went out about 5:45, met TNB, we were waiting for the tea, and he looked at me and he went, "Fucking hell, Steve." And I went, "What, mate, what?" He said, "Your eyes." I said, "What about them?" He said, they're sparkling like diamonds." And I looked at him and I says, "Yeah," I says, "something's going on," and I just laughed, and that was that. For a couple of weeks afterwards, I thought I was going insane. I thought I was really losing the plot. Every day I woke up and I felt so good. I mean, in a way that the last time I felt like this was when I took Reiki 1 back in 2000. And I realized I had no stress for the first time. For the first time of being in Tihar, there was no stress. And I thought, where's my stress gone? What about my wife? What about my kids? What about all my stuff that I've left in go? All this kind of stuff. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And I realized I'd ended my suffering. Now, I really want you to think about this, right? My suffering ended being the mental suffering. The physical suffering, neither you nor there. The mental suffering is the worst, as anybody will attest to at the end of the day, right? Mental suffering. Anyway, I realized that my suffering had finished. I had no more mental pain. And I thought, that's the secret. That's the secret of enjoying your life. I realized that I'd lost my wife. I knew it then. She was never going to come back to me. I realized all the stuff that I had in my life before Tihar was gone. I had no obligations to anybody in my life. I was a free spirit. It was as simple as that. And my message to you now is that end your suffering, and everything else will come to you. I had to go through 2 years, over 2 years of mental suffering that I'd never experienced in my whole life combined to what I did in those 2 years. And that's as much as I can say. And I'm not saying you've got to go to Tihar to end your suffering. What I'm saying is, when you look at your life, whatever is going on, if you have any kind of suffering, which you will have, it'll come from time to time. For me, it was a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week affair, you know, and it's not like that for people on the outside generally. But if it is, you can end your suffering. Because when you realize that it's all in your head, nobody feels it, nobody can see it, nobody can experience it, only you, then only you can get rid of it. And you can. You can. If I could do it in a place like Tihar, right, surely you can do it where you are now. This is one of my main messages about this story, like I said in a previous video. Even though the story is about me, it's not about me, it's about you. I'm doing these videos so people can hopefully understand and grasp what I'm saying. I'm just a simple guy from the valleys of South Wales, you know. Left school at 15 with no education, nada, nothing at all. I'm nobody special. I just found a way to have a complete life. From that day till now, my life has been complete. I don't worry. I don't get angry. I don't have sadness. I don't have guilt. None of that bollocks. It's all gone. All gone. Because I realized in jail, all I had was what I had, which was a bag with bits in, you know, toothbrush, towel, bits of underwear, nothing much. That's all I had. And I was so happy. I was so happy to have this. When I walked out of the ward that morning, I looked round and there's these trees everywhere, you know, big trees and flowers, and everything was shining and bright and the birds were chirping. Oh, God, I was so happy. And it only got better from that point. It only got better. So please, please, I want you, whoever, to listen to especially this video. This is the video that I've been waiting to do. Everybody deserves to have a peaceful, happy life. And yes, you have things that you've got to do. You have to deal with things. But don't look at your life when something comes along and think, oh, fucking hell, I've got a big problem here. It's not a problem. It's a label that we've been conditioned to apply to a situation, because that's all it is. Situations come into our life, yeah? All of us. And we either look at it as right, wrong, good, bad, or problem, you know? When it's not a problem, it's great. Oh, yes, yeah, oh, yeah, man, happy days. But when something comes along you don't like, it's a big fucking problem. And it's not. It's a situation. And you only have 3 things to consider. You either deal with it. You think, oh, I'm going to have to just keep this up here for a while and, you know, see how things go. Or you let it go. It's as simple as that. It's just 3 things. There is nothing else to consider. You can look at this and this and this and this. None of that matters. You just have three ways of dealing with that situation. So don't look on your life when something comes along as a problem. It's just a label. It's just a label. Look at it as a problem is negative. A situation, it's neutral. It's neutral. You haven't applied good or bad, negative or positive. It's just a situation. Deal with it using these 3 ways of doing it. And then get on with your life. you know, that's all it is. It's about keeping your life simple, you know. I can't speak for people in the East or whatever, but people in the West, you're conditioned all your life. You're conditioned with your parents, you know, with your schooling, with the media. Now you've got all this social media bollocks, you know, that people, you know, they can't live without it. No, man, you know, just enjoy your life. That's all it is. And you can enjoy your life regardless of what you're doing. I was enjoying my life beyond words in Tihar prison, Asia's biggest maximum security fucking prison. And if I can do it there, you can do it here. All right. Don't forget, like it, subscribe to it. What else? Oh yeah, share. And if you want, please leave me comments and I will answer everyone next time.